Hello. Okay, BlackBerry, a biographical comedy drama based on the rise and fall of the world's first smartphone. So when it comes to the comedy element, the comedy aspect of this movie, it's very satirical and it has a very dry sense of humour, which is right up my street. I found this film to be incredibly funny, but also the comedy was very smart. The way it was sort of worked into some of the very dramatic moments within the film when it comes to these characters and what they're going through with the business, how they weaved this type of humour into these moments just was so effective. The way in which they deliver the comedy within certain moments, one of my favourite moments in fact, and it's a very simple, brief moment. Like a lot of the humour, the dry humour that they deliver within this film is quite subtle. It's very brief and it kind of just takes you, knocks you out of nowhere, and I fucking loved it. But there's this one moment, don't worry, there's no spoilers, but all I'm going to say is there's a room full of men with one female and they've got Michael Ironside's character speaking to this team. This scene had me laughing even when I was walking out of the cinema, because as I was thinking back on the film, and it's just down to the way in which they deliver a very simple moment, just with the way they move the camera, to just the way Michael Ironside is there sort of delivering his lines, you know, being great as he always is. And it's just like, yeah, I just love the humour within this film. I don't think the comedy is for everyone. It just happens to be that it was very much for me and it hit all the right buttons. The pacing and the narrative structure within this film was simply fantastic. The story takes you along from the very first couple of minutes and it never gets dull. There was never a moment within this movie in which I was bored or I felt like it just slowed down. It has great sharp writing that just keeps the story going, covering everything that you need to know. The way the story is told was just simply engrossing and compelling. They take you along on the ride. They don't leave you behind. I found out afterwards that this film was 2 hours long. I actually thought it was an hour and a half. I thought it was around 90 minutes. That's how it felt. And I just think a lot of that is down to the great job with the pacing, the writing, and just how this narrative was structured throughout the film. They managed to swallow you up within the drama beautifully. You never feel like you're missing a moment, whether it be the story or the drama, or even with the characters. You never really feel like you want to know more, find out more about a character, because they already do such a good job at giving you that insight into what these characters' motivations are, their personalities, what makes them tick. And it's not just down to the writing, but the great performances from all of the cast as well. This was a very immersive experience with characters that I really got a good understanding of from the very, first 5 to 10 minutes. So when it comes to performances, we've got Glenn Howerton, who plays Jim Balsillie, a Canadian businessman who invests in BlackBerry. He's one of the standout performances for me within this film. You get to know and see so much of him as a character through his performance, and you barely get any insight into his background. Just glimpses of him and his passions and how that eventually spirals out of control. His performance feels so real, but at the same time there is this comedic note to the performance in parts that was simply great. He plays this bastard of a character, the way he is, and a very kind of corrupt kind of character. Just the way in which he delivers the dry humour and those moments of drama was just simply captivating. He was one of the standout performances for me. For me, this was much more than just a biographical comedy drama about the rise and fall of the BlackBerry smartphone. It was a much more deeper focus on just people in general when it comes to sort of motivations and what certain people will do to obtain those desires and passions that they have in life, and sort of that kind of descent into corruption and evil even. And I just feel like the way in which they handled that, and a lot of that is brought to life and highlighted through the character of Jim Balsillie, and I just found it incredibly engrossing in how they told this story, which surface level, yeah, it's a funny movie about the rise and fall of the BlackBerry, and a lot of the time this film was quite nostalgic as well, because I grew up through the 90s, so you know, you've got the launch of the iPhone there and all of that. The experience is a lot deeper than that, and it's much more of a sort of a study on what really kind of people, sort of the length that people will go to sort of obtain, to reach those passions and desires in life, and how easily it can be to corrupt people as well. And I just found just that entire experience and how that was brought to life within this film to be very captivating. We witness through the story how one's integrity and their, you know, morality can just be really challenged, and how one can be so easily corrupted. Seeing Baruchel as Mike, one of the founders of BlackBerry, transform from this very nervous, not very confident character in the beginning to how his character ends up, that transformation and how that transformation was handled throughout the movie, from the first, second, third act, was just simply beautiful. And again, a lot of it is down to the writing and the performance. I just thought the way in which this story was told was very smartly done. It never feels rushed. The pacing is spot on, though I would have liked a little bit more between the two co-founders, Mike and Doug, and how their relationship deteriorates as BlackBerry explodes, and the fall of BlackBerry as well. I would have liked to have just seen a little bit more meat in regards to their deteriorating relationship sort of in the second and into the third act. But overall, I was very satisfied with how this story was depicted. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not really sure what's 100% true and what isn't within this film, but it was a very enjoyable, immersive, compelling and very interesting experience. I had a really good time with it. Now, I've said this film is incredibly funny, but like I previously said, I don't think this film, in regards to the sort of the comedy aspect of it, is going to work for everyone. I do think this is aimed towards certain type of people who like this very kind of dry sense of humor that's really not in your face. But I felt like the comedy that they had within this story, mixed with all the other elements, just really helped immerse me and just keep me immersed throughout the entire duration of this movie. I was immersed within this drama. I was engrossed. It's a very sharp, tight, and the energy and the momentum within the narrative, within this experience, just never gives up. It's a very fun, smart, engrossing movie, and I just had a really good time with this film. So yeah, I will be giving BlackBerry a 9 out of 10. So yeah, they're my thoughts on BlackBerry, but what did you guys think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you agree or disagree with anything I've said? Let me know below and let's get a discussion going. And if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. If you want to see future reviews from just some random Welsh geek rambling on, then please hit the subscribe button. It will mean an awful lot to me. My next review will be for some other hood. I'm interested with this. I mean, I'd only seen the trailer for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and it oozes British humour, so I should like it with that aspect, but we'll find out, won't we? So yeah, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll be catching you guys soon.